There is nothing in scripture or history that connects the Shroud of Turin to Israel, the Apostles, or the early church. That is the main reason most historians consider it highly unlikely that it is the burial cloth of Jesus. Here is the clear breakdown. The cloth of Jesus was left in Jerusalem, not carried to Europe. John 20 verses 5-7 describes two burial cloths in the empty tomb, the linen cloths lying there, and the face cloth folded separately. The Gospel writers show no hint that these cloths were taken, preserved, or transported by any disciple. There is zero biblical evidence that anyone saved the burial linen. No early Christian writings mention any burial cloth of Jesus. The early church, 1st to 3rd century, wrote hundreds of documents. If such a holy relic existed, it would have been mentioned. But no church father mentions it. No apostle mentions it. No Jewish, Roman, or Christian historian mentions it. Silence. The cloth was not known. The shroud appears suddenly in France in the 1300s. The first appearance in history of the shroud is in France around the year 1350. Before that year, no records. No drawings, no writings, no pilgrimages, no traditions. If Jesus' burial cloth had been real, it would not appear suddenly in medieval France. This is the strongest historical argument against authenticity. There is no evidence the cloth ever existed in Israel. No document from Jerusalem, Antioch, Ephesus, Rome, Constantinople, or any early church center ever claims to possess Jesus' burial linen. If the cloth never existed in Israel, it cannot be Jesus' burial cloth. Why do some people still claim it's real? Because the image is unusual, mysterious, and difficult to explain scientifically. But a strange image does not prove it belongs to Jesus, especially when it never existed in ancient Israel. It never existed in early Christianity. It appeared 1,300 years later. Radiocarbon tests dated it to the Middle Ages. Artists in the Middle Ages often made relics to draw pilgrims. If an object supposedly belonged to Jesus but never came from Israel, never appeared in the early church, and only shows up in Europe 1,300 years later, it cannot be his burial cloth. Even if the image is mysterious, the historical origin makes it impossible to be the cloth from Jesus' tomb.